The last notes of the music box faded slowly. A comfortable silence settled between us on the park bench. Stephen and I looked at each other. A soft smile touched his lips, and I felt a blush rise on my cheeks. It was a gentle moment, full of unspoken feelings. The silence that followed was not empty. It was filled with new questions and quiet curiosity. Stephen spoke first, his voice calm. "So, where did you find your half of this music box?" he asked. I began to tell him my story about the flea market. He listened carefully. We both realized we had to see if the pieces truly fit together. It felt like a small, exciting mission. "We should try to join them," I suggested. Stephen nodded, a determined look on his face. We exchanged phone numbers, our fingers brushing lightly as we passed our phones. A promising start. A few days later, I sat at my desk in my apartment. The ballerina piece rested on a small velvet cloth. I picked up my phone, hesitating for a moment. Should I text him now? I thought about Stephen's kind eyes. Finally, I typed a short message and pressed send. Meanwhile, in his busy workshop, Stephen was sanding a wooden chair. Wood shavings lay on the floor around him. His phone buzzed on the workbench. He stopped his work and wiped his hands on his apron. A wide, warm smile appeared on his face as he read my message. He quickly typed a reply. The next afternoon, I arrived at Stephen's workshop. The air smelled of wood and metal. Tools hung neatly on the walls. Half-finished projects, like old clocks and wooden boxes, sat on shelves. It felt like a creative and safe place, full of stories waiting to be finished. I felt intrigued. Stephen greeted me warmly at the door. "Welcome," he said, his smile genuine. He had already cleared a space on his main workbench. A soft, clean cloth lay there, ready for the delicate music box pieces. His thoughtfulness made me feel instantly comfortable in his space. It was a kind gesture. I carefully took the ballerina piece from my bag. My hands trembled slightly with anticipation. I placed it gently on the soft cloth, right next to the tin soldier. For the first time, the two halves were finally together. Stephen leaned closer, his eyes fixed on the pieces. A quiet excitement filled the air. With steady, capable hands, Stephen carefully aligned the two bases. He moved them slowly, precisely. Then there was a soft, satisfying click. The pieces locked together perfectly. They now formed a single, complete stage, just as they were meant to be. It was a small miracle. Stephen carefully wound the key at the side of the newly joined box. A new, fuller musical piece began to play. It was richer, more complex than before. The tin soldier and the ballerina now turned in a slow, graceful dance together. Their movements were perfectly synchronized. It was truly enchanting. As the beautiful melody filled the air, Stephen's trained eye moved over the music box. He carefully examined the seam where the two halves had joined. Suddenly, he noticed something unusual. A faint, almost invisible line ran along the base, seeming out of place. Stephen leaned closer, his brow furrowed. He pointed with a finger to a tiny inscription, a maker's mark. It was almost hidden in the decorative woodwork. The mark was a small, stylized letter A. It was a clue to the object's origin. I leaned in, my heart quickening. I had seen marks like that before, I thought. They were in my old books about artisans and their unique signatures. My historical knowledge was suddenly very relevant. This was more than just a repair. Stephen reached for a small magnifying glass from his pocket. He held it over the faint line. His eyes widened slightly in surprise. The line was not a crack. It was the edge of a tiny hidden drawer, perfectly integrated into the base. The mystery deepened. He gently pushed and prodded at the tiny drawer. However, it did not move at all. Stephen explained that it must be a puzzle lock. He said it was designed to be opened in a specific way. Therefore, we needed to solve a riddle. The problem was now a challenging puzzle. Suddenly, I had an idea. I suggested that the maker's mark wasn't just for identification. I thought it was the first clue to solving the puzzle. Our individual skills were beginning to combine. My knowledge of history and Stephen's practical understanding of mechanisms were a good match. The scene shifted to my cozy apartment. The afternoon sun streamed through the window. Stephen looked around at my many bookshelves. A look of warm admiration spread across his face. He was learning more about me and my world of forgotten stories. The atmosphere was comfortable and inviting. Soon we were sitting on the floor. We were surrounded by heavy books on antiques and craftsmanship. We began our research together. We searched for information on the specific maker's mark. It was a visual representation of our teamwork. We worked with quiet cooperation, turning pages. My finger traced a paragraph on a page. There it was! The text was about a 19th-century toymaker named William Ainsworth. He was known for his intricate puzzle boxes. This was a significant breakthrough in our search. We had identified the potential maker. We looked at each other, smiling. The music box sat between us, its secret still hidden. However, now we had a path forward. Our partnership was solidified. Together, we would uncover its deeper mysteries. This was just the beginning of our shared quest.
Si te gustó el video, pon me gusta, suscríbete y activa la campanita para no perderte la próxima parte.